but all things considered, I don't think I can be better.
It's one of those things. I was thinking about it last night watching your episode. I'm like, this poor girl has gone back to back with Survivor. It has just probably been all consuming in your world for the last like 12 months. How are you processing the whirlwind that has been Survivor for you?
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy. My boot episode was last night. You would think I would wake up so sad and depressed, but I woke up and I just felt so happy. I felt like it's the first day of summer vacation. And
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, I've loved being part of the Survivor community. I've loved playing, I've loved watching it back with all the fans. But I feel like now I'm in a place where, oh my gosh, I can finally celebrate everything that this journey has been. No more anxiety before the episodes are about to air. I can just kind of relish in, yeah, I won a season and I got to come back for a second. And I can also enjoy the rest of 50 from like a fan's point of view.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's the actual capacity to celebrate your victory because there wasn't like a lot of time to have that victory lap for you at all. Like I remember talking to you like pretty much straight away, and then you're back on another season. And for you in real time, like how long was the turnaround between playing 49 into 50?
It was like 9 days, which is
Yeah.
crazy. And during those 9 days, like you would think like I'd be so excited about the win and going back for 50, but there was excitement, but there was also a lot of anxiety and maybe a little bit of fear during that time too. Playing Survivor once is hard. Playing twice, especially back to back, is
Mm.
really, really hard.
It's
And it
brutal.
was tough. Yeah.
It's brutal. But look, I'm so grateful that you actually decided to go back and play because it is very easy after, especially winning the game, to say no in that juncture, in that period. I actually believe, this is my own personal opinion, that you actually had the hardest place of any of the 24 out there because one, you were unseen. So people hadn't actually seen you play. They didn't know who you were necessarily. And two, you were the winner of that previous season. So you have like these two not negatives, they're amazing things that happen, but these two like red flags against your name, like, hey, we don't know who this person is, and she's won and she's back. Like, how did you try to navigate that? And I did see Soph come out and talk about a little bit about, there was some strategies potentially happening, which were thrown out the door.
Yeah, I mean, initially we had planned to tell people that I got fifth place in my initial season. Me and Rizzo were both on the same page. And as we were going out to LA to fly to Fiji, we got word from Soph that someone from season 47 knew our entire boot order. They knew that I had won. And not only did they know, but a lot of other people knew.
Yeah.
So that plan was blown up. I knew I had to own it. And I did. And I thought to myself, maybe this will be almost a little bit freeing, right? I'll tell these people exactly who I
Yeah.
am. I'll tell them I played a loyal game. I'll tell them, went to the very end with my best friend. Maybe that could be you. We could go to the end together kind of thing. But unfortunately, I think the big question mark over not seeing my actual game itself was just too scary. I get it. Survivor's a game of uncertainty. You want to try to eliminate as much uncertainty as possible in the game. But at the same time, I did try. I did make my plea.
Yeah, no, I know you did. I've been very open. I'm a very big fan of you, Sav. I think you're an excellent Survivor player, and I hope that at some point in the future you get to come back and do this again with space and time. I do also feel like your initial tribe was really challenging for you to necessarily navigate. Like to have, like I'm looking at the dynamic now, and like to have arguably maybe the three biggest Survivor nerd archetypes all on one tribe, and I love those players. Like, but they're like the three of them together is kind of like some Survivor, yeah, mismatch. And then we've got Sari and Ozzy, obviously who played together on the past before. Joe, who is his like own enigma in himself. Like there isn't naturally like an easy fit for you. Like I'm not saying you're not someone who's great socially, you are, but it's a really like it's not necessarily a natural easy fit into that tribe.
Exactly. And I would say if there was someone who I really felt a connection with at the beginning, it was Jenna Lewis.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her name was the one that was out there so early on just because she was going so hard for Sari. I don't think the rest of my tribe wanted Sari to go home at all. And even though I was feeling so tight with Jenna, I was worried that if I stuck my neck out, then I would end up being the boot because I felt like if Jenna was at the bottom, I was second at the bottom. And yeah, the tribe dynamics were so interesting because Devon's, Emily, and Christian, they were so tight so quickly.
Yeah.
Uh, that was a crazy combination to put on a starting tribe. But then you also have Suri and Ozzy, and a tight duo can be such a powerful thing in the game,
Yeah.
especially when they're amazing gamers. So it was a tough position to be in.
Yeah, no doubt. So it is fascinating. It is really tough, but you go out there and I think you do really well to try to navigate that. Can you talk a little bit about the relationships you were fostering and the conversations you were having?
Yeah, so I mean, other than Jenna Lewis, I mean, the other people who I really wanted to work with and was excited to work with, one of them, Rick Devens, I
Yeah.
actually talked about him in my Survivor application video for Survivor 49. And I mentioned Rick as someone who I wanted to play like. I thought he was so fun and funny to play like. And so being able to play with him, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, Rick, work with me, please. And then Emily Flippin, I also really appreciated out there. And I think for me, there's just something really special about working with like a strong woman. And Emily and I were around the same age. We're a little bit different, but we also have a lot of similarities. I think we're both really headstrong
Yeah.
and just like I feel like we both can be powerful women. And so I was hoping that those two would come through for me. Joe also is another example of someone who I watched him in 48. I really thought that his loyal gameplay could be a benefit to me in 50, especially because I had been pretty loyal in my season two.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, just that scary question mark over me, it was a little bit too much for some of these people to overcome.
Yeah, hugely. I just feel like sometimes Survivor is about luck as well, and I do feel like you got a little bit unlucky. Like heading into the tribal, where did you think the numbers were going to go, or did you have an assumption? No, it's probably going to be me.
Yeah, I was pretty worried going into tribal. I thought that I was at serious risk, but then as tribal was going on, and I'm listening to the people I'm sitting next to kind of share their thoughts on the State of the Union to Jeff, and you hear people talking about how they don't necessarily want uncertainty and how they want to keep things stable. I start to think, okay, well, I feel like I'm kind of the piece that's, the unstable part, the mystery
Yeah.
piece, the uncertainty here. And so when you see me have that emotional moment at Tribal, I think that's kind of where, I'm talking and I'm kind of putting everything together. And if I'm gonna have last words, I'm so glad that I had that moment to kind of just share not only what 50 meant to me, but also kind of tie it back to 49.
Yeah, look, personally, I loved your exit in terms of just the emotion that you shared, and like it comes full circle. Like you talked about, we talked about a little bit as well in our last chat about like your history on the show, like coming to the show feeling, ostracized by other people in the past through work and professionalism, and then coming here and being just so authentic and reducing the wall. And I do really, it's one of those big things we talk about, like what we grow from experience. And it's so cool to see that you've grown from that experience of being able to like let people in. And it's not a negative. Going out in this position we have is not a negative. It's just a highlight of like the person that you've become. So it should be a real positive. I saw your partner in the background sneaking away, which is great. Can you talk a little about that connection as well? Because obviously you go play, you win, you get to reconnect for a period of time, and then but you then go back and you come back, and it's like the survivor whirlwind of watching the show for a long period of time. How big is like your partner and your family for that support network through two concurrent seasons?
Dude, they're everything. They're everything to me. I could not have done this by myself. I really could not. And I mean, even not just playing the game and afterwards, but even beforehand when I applied to be on the show and just having their encouragement. And, there'd be days where I would have maybe an interview with production and I'd be like, oh my God, I didn't get it. Like I screwed that up. These people are the ones who were like the shoulder for me to lean on and cry on. When I felt like I wasn't going to get it, and then to be so supportive when I got back, and even when I had to go right back, it was
Yeah.
really hard. I'm not going to lie, that period between 49 and 50, because while I have dreams and I want to go chase those adventures in that dream, my partner also has needs too,
Yeah.
right? So how do you kind of adjust and accommodate two people who are kind of wanting different things that kind of conflict with each other at the moment? You know what I mean? But overall, it's been such an amazing learning experience for myself. I think it's been a good learning experience for my partner too, in kind of understanding what we need as individuals and what we need from one another. And in a really like crazy way, I think it's made us a little bit closer as a couple, a lot faster, I think, than we would be about 2 years into our relationship.
Yeah, no, I really value and appreciate like the authenticity of that response as well, and I completely agree. Like I, not survivor, obviously, but yeah, in relationships that I've had where you have these big things that are really important to you as a person, and you have to prioritize yourself a little bit, which is it is a little bit selfish in ourselves to do these things, but it's about the shared respect and mutual understanding between each other to grow. And I do raise that because I look behind you and see the flowers and I see the celebration of what you probably had for the last 24 hours. And I put that juxtaposition on the online commentary, and I've seen you talk about it. I love your social media. I love that you call things out and you talk about it. But can you talk a little bit about like the social stepping into that survivor world and like being exposed to the world and some of the stuff that comes your way? Because I think it's really important to highlight that it that you are a person. You are a person who has a family and connections, and you go and do this. You've done this thing twice back to back, which is amazing. But it doesn't shift that you're a person with like needs and family and connection. And I have seen some of the online commentary, and it has just been like crazy. Are you willing to elaborate a little bit on that stuff?
Absolutely. I mean, it really has been insane. And I say this as someone who was a Survivor fan, who was on social media before I was a player. I was the person who was on Reddit, scrolling through the comments, reading
Yeah.
everything. And so now to be in the limelight and be that person who's being talked about, and not only that, but being talked about negatively so often. And don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of positive too, but the negativity is
Yeah.
is very strong at times. It's been wild to digest, and I think it's also been really interesting because I don't know, it's kind of made me think a little bit more about how we view different types of people in our society.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me before, like, oh, like if you were a man and doing or saying some of these things, would it be as bothersome? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Would
100%.
people tell a man who's acting the same way I am, would they tell him to humble himself or to stop being so cocky? Or that he needs to basically make himself smaller? I don't think so. And so it's been a really good eye-opening experience for me. And I think overall, I, in a weird way, I'm kind of grateful for it because I feel like it has
Yeah.
made me way more empathetic towards other people. And, it's unfortunate, I think, that people have so much hate in their hearts to where they have to make these judgments about people who open themselves up and make themselves vulnerable and
Yeah.
who are shown. I mean, it's impossible to show us in a 360-degree way when we're part of a program that features 23 other people, right? That's so freaking hard to show someone's full personality. But overall, I just hope that, people, especially women, feel more empowered to do things like play games like this in a bold way, that they can be assertive and that they don't have to be afraid of being told that they need to make themselves feel smaller.
It is actually International Women's Day on Sunday as well. So I think it's a really timely commentary on it as well. And I completely agree with you. I think that so many women are made to make themselves, and you said it, be smaller, be less. Don't be the person that's, dominating the conversation, being the powerful person in the room. And I think you demonstrated through 49, especially like that is strength, that is not weakness. So from my standpoint, I just wanted to say like, that is not clearly a reflection of most people's opinions, but it is really sad that there is a pocket of the online community that feels like they have to be this way towards people. And I saw you post the other day about like appearance as well, which men do not get commented on their appearance ever on these shows. And women constantly are. The fact that they think you've had plastic surgery just talks about how great you do look. So that's a positive in the sense. But
I've
I
heard everything
yeah.
in terms of my body, which is absolutely wild from, those kinds of things like, oh, she must have
Yeah.
plastic surgery to, oh my gosh, her boobs are too saggy, like literally everything. And I'm like, I'm on a freaking reality show to win some money. Like, I did not
Yeah.
come out here to be America's Next Top Model. You know what I mean? It's been crazy.
No, completely agree. I love to wrap these chats by talking about the concept of gratitude. I remember I spoke to you last time about this as well. But for you, like now, a winner of Survivor, which is something that people can never take away, which is such a huge thing. Like I feel like you need a plaque or something to like commemorate like you're the winner of Survivor 49. But to be a winner of Survivor, to have gone through, to be on 50, the most like one of the most iconic casts in the history of the show, that can't be taken away. What are you grateful for from the Survivor experience you've just been through the past 12 months?
Dude, honestly, just the opportunity to live this dream through. Like, I
Yeah.
grew up watching this show. I grew up wanting this. The show's 25 years old. I've grown up wanting this for 25 years. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm just so grateful that they wanted me on and that they saw something in me, not only from my first season, but brought me back for this second season to play with some of the people who shaped the way that I wanted to play this game and people who I rooted for. Every single person on my starting tribe, by the way, I had rooted for at some point in my life because I had watched
Yeah.
all of their seasons before playing. And so to be some part of something that's greater than myself, it's just been so incredible.
Yeah, I do. I did feel like it was a little bit ironic that in your tribe specifically, we had the first person out, Jenna, from the very first season of Survivor, who was one of the, powerhouse women, especially who created this franchise. To you, the last winner of Survivor, a female winner of Survivor at 49. I kind of love that symmetry in a way. And it's just a huge thing. And congrats on getting to play. Congrats on being out there. Personal favor mine, Sav, over 50 seasons now. So, all the best. And, yeah, I hope everything else does amazing things. And hopefully, I really genuinely hope, I know you work in media. Hopefully, Survivor opens doors for you to get some things professionally as well. And, best of luck.
Dude, thank you. That means the world to me. Seriously, thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it.